I'm Lexi Keshick. I'm half Native American. From Hannibal, Michigan. Born and raised on the reservation of Potawatomi Nation, Native Americans. I have 6 kids with an adopted daughter, Addison, which makes my child number 7. And I'm a married man to a beautiful woman that I love so much.
I'm Jennifer Keshick. I'm married to Lexi. We've been married in April, will be 20 years. We've been together 23 years. We've raised 6 kids and we have 4 grandchildren. We're going to talk about the Fatherhood is Sacred, Motherhood is Sacred program that we were trained facilitators for by a man named Mr. Pooley. He wrote this curriculum. He's a Native American from Arizona, Navajo Nation. And he wrote 3 curriculums. One is the Fatherhood is Sacred, another one linking generations by strengthening relationships, and addressing family violence and abuse.
I was introduced by a health worker. They were looking for, I guess, individuals, other members on other tribes, Bay Mills, Baraga, Keweenaw Bay would be. In Hannibal, they didn't find a person. I was a maintenance man, and I was approached to try the curriculum and see if I liked it, and my wife wanted to be a part of it as well. So Intertribal Council, ITC, sent us to Arizona to be certified and facilitators of this, and I could not be honored even more.
I honestly thought it was something completely different. I didn't realize, because we had gotten healthy and we did a lot of diabetes stuff, started out here. And so I thought it was going to be like fathers doing sports with kids, or like getting them involved in certain aspects of their life. So when we went in the first day, the first hour into training was just so eye-opening, and how we could even be better parents ourselves. We wanted to just bring it back to our people and just share it, because it was such a powerful message, just positive, powerful, and we had never went to a training like this before, taught by a Native American. He lived the life. He lived it like we've lived it. We live out here on the reservation. He grew up on a reservation too, and it feels good to hear something taught comes from other natives.
It also gets the understanding of being a Native American man in Indian country, what it means to be a father, knowing who your father is, whether he was good or bad. You know, you will always remember with this curriculum. And we try to demonstrate with our own children, and I think it's worked out very good.
So NAFA, which is Native American Fatherhood and Families Association, has this purpose of life, like a goal, like something you all work for. And the purpose of life, NAFA defines as to have a happy and safe family. And when you have a goal, you can shoot towards the goal. So the purpose is to have a happy and safe family. We think that everybody really wants to have.
And anybody could have a family. Anybody could have a family. But to have a true, happy, safe family is what this curriculum teaches you. It sharpens the tools you already have in you. It's nothing we have. This is something we're sharing.
Yes, we're sharing Mr. Pooley's curriculum, because one of our things was like, well, how do we go back to our reservation? And people will be like, well, who are you to teach us about parenting? You know, so we kind of were worried, and Mr. Pooley took us into his home and he drove us around, so we got like extra training, and he said, you're just sharing something that I wrote. So that's what we say. We're not teaching it really, we're just sharing it because we believe in it. And it's not like we wrote it and this is what worked for us. This is what we're sharing, and we truly believe in it.
And once they, I guess, grasp the purpose of life and embrace it and the vision, both of them become one mind.
Some habits might be hard. Well, NAFA also says that they take the positions that fathers are the solution to addressing the problems, and that they are the greatest untapped resources, and that they must take the lead in keeping families together. For many years, they have been made to seem like they are the problem, and a lot of programs don't include the father, when really they're like one of the main supporters and needs to be part of it and keeping the family together. So what we want to do is let the parents realize how sacred they are to their children. It is called fatherhood is sacred, motherhood is sacred. But how they put it was, so with sacredness comes sacrifice. Native Americans know what sacred things are. You know, certain items, pipes, drums, feathers, mountains, ceremonial grounds. Like, we understand what sacred things are. But when it comes to sacred things, also comes sacrifice. And I don't think that we've ever really realized how sacred we are as a person. We know what sacred items are, but to really know that you're actually sacred, well, then you sacrifice and you want to take care of it. So if you have a regalia, you don't just throw it on the floor and, leave it there. You hang it up, you take care of it, you cover your drums, you take care of your things, you don't let your feathers drop. So a story to illustrate that was, it was really powerful, was, you want to tell them about how you put all the sacred items in one spot?
Yeah, we can do that. Say we have me and my wife go in this room, and this is just an example. And you got Geronimo's pipe there and his headdress. You got Crazy Horse's weapons he used or whatever. You got all the sacred tobacco pouches and all that, and all the feathers that were, sacred to the native people. And then you bring your own children in and you tell them, ask them what is sacred to you. What is it? What do you think they'll choose? They will choose the mother and father over any of that sacred things.
Yeah. So if you have your sacred things piled as high as you can from generations, and then you're standing next to it, and then you tell your children to come in and pick one. They're not going to pick that stuff. They're going to pick you every single time. So that's how sacred we are to our children. So we have to take care of ourselves. We need to be healthy. We need to step up. And one of the ways that fatherhood is sacred is that the men are to be the leaders. It's been like that for generations. We've kind of just fallen away from it. So what we want to do is have the men feel like, we like to call them like the warriors of the family. They're gonna rise up and they're gonna bring the family together. It's hard to do though when a lot of times the father is left out or the mother tends to control and run everything, because it's just something we've gotten away from for very many generations. I even had to change too, because I had to look at my husband as the leader and involve him and respect more of his leadership roles.
and a good starting point with that is bringing happiness and safeness to your wife. And then the children will experience the happiness and family, the nourishment of it. That's a good starting point. And once the children feel safe with the mother, your family's starting to really bind in that, I guess.
One of the things is that the husband nurtures. And normally when you hear nurture, you think of the mother nurturing. I felt like this was a really eye-opening one, because my husband really embraced it in nurturing his family. Children will, what they see is what they will end up doing. Doesn't matter what we say, it's what they see is what they'll end up doing. And my husband is an amazing nurturer. He makes us feel safe. He makes sure we're okay. Another thing he does is a big thing in the fatherhood is service. A lot of people look at service as a weakness, or it's not. So what he does also for his family is he serves us, like just simple stuff, like gets us a drink, or he checks on us to make sure we're okay, or
Well, and it doesn't mean that I'm the boss of the house. What parenting is an equal partnership, and it is important for both to know their equal job of things. And mothers are just important. Just because I am the nurturer of the family doesn't mean I'm the boss. It's an equal share on decisions, and family matters.
Yes. And motherhood is leadership as well. One of the things that NAFA believes, though, is that family is the heart of the Native American culture. From very beginning, families were always like number one in their lives. Mr. Pooley asked us, he's like, if you really want to destroy somebody, what would you take away from him? You could take his car, you could take his job, you can take his home, but to really destroy somebody would to take their family. So we're standing like family is the heart of our culture. We need to bring it back to the heart of our culture. Our forefathers worked very hard at it, and that's all it is bringing back an old message. Native 101, right?
Yeah,
is that what he called it?
Motherhood, just as well as fatherhood, motherhood is leadership as well. Mother's work is to bring happiness to the family. You ever been to a bachelor's house? It's always sports or whatever. A mother comes in and she puts her touch on everything. There's nothing more beautiful and more inspiring than a touch and love of a loving mother. There's nothing more important than what she brings to her family is that love and that touch and to our children.
Yeah. Thank you.
We do put these on each other. We do take the responsibilities on. How can I say it? It is tough to act on it, and with your children, and to see them change, see you change, and they follow behind you with that. It's very inspiring to me. I love that. I love seeing growth in our children.
You never realize how important it is until somebody enlightens and opens your eyes to it. Another, for example, we could do to show how important the mother and fatherhood is, who was the MVP of the football 5 years ago?
Yeah, 5 years of Super Bowl.
I don't know, but we could find out. We don't know the answer right now. Who was their president 20 years ago? I mean, you may know, but you can find it. But if you ask somebody who your father was 20 years ago, they know who it is. And then if you ask who your father is 20 years from now, you're always going to know
whether he was good or bad, you're always going to know your father.
Yes.
That's just something you will always remember.
So reuniting with loved ones, part of Native American culture is when you pass on, you will be reunited with your loved ones. Mr. Pooley said he hasn't been to one reservation where they haven't thought that. He said it's been generations before us, and we believe it now even. It's part of the culture. And he said when we go after the great celebration of meeting, they're going to want to introduce us to their parents. And then their grandparents are going to introduce people we don't even know, but they know us. And things that we'll take to heaven would be our knowledge, we'll know what a phone is, we'll know what a car is. We'll take our relationships, our siblings, our mother, our father, we'll know
education
and stuff like that. One of the things that really opened our eyes to was said, the generations that we are just meeting, they're gonna want to know what we did with their name. Did we bring shame or honor to our families? And that really hit hard. I don't want to disappoint them when I go there. And even them they were about families back then too. So it's even our job to our generations before us to bring this message.
Well, when we get to the big place up there, our parents are going to want to tell their parents about us and what we brought, and then honor their name, what we brought, and how we stood on our own goodness, and things like that we have to understand these things. First, we'll go over the 5 core concepts. The very first one is service. Second one is wisdom. And the third one is teachable. The fourth one is choice. And the fifth one is creator. What we want to go over the first one, I guess, is service. It is important to serve the ones you love, especially if you love what you serve to the people. I think personally, service is a great roadmap to greatness. Mr. Pooley said that as well. I found out myself it is. In my last job, I did service. I was a community outreach. As of now, I think serving my family is top priority. My wife, my children, my brothers, sisters, family, community members. I find out that service, giving back. I teach a boxing club again, and I service them. I give that back to them. I feel complete with that, I guess.
Yeah, when you serve people, you just you build relationships, and you just feel good after you serve people. Some people might think of it as a weakness or not a good word, but really it's a great word, and we would all benefit if we serve the people around us, our families, even our community. So service is huge. Once you find an area that you want to help in, or you see a need, and then you service. So we seen a need, like we wanted to share this Fatherhood is Sacred. So one of the services is...
Well, service is, I like to be, service is something I look at as a blessing, as I have been blessed, and me to give back into the service, not only in the curriculum, but in my community, as in, I will give back to be a blessing to others, since I have been blessed, and me sitting here reaping the blessings when I could be out there blessing others. That's how I look at this curriculum as well. That's taught me to be great for serving others.
I think, like an example that how my husband also serves us is that me and our granddaughter like to watch movies at night. So what we like to do is eat popcorn, and like he just makes it for us, and he makes us a juice, and even that simple act of service makes us feel so good. Like it gets us all happy, and she's excited. We're gonna watch a movie. And like even with the whole COVID going on, I had COVID, so I had to be isolated in the bedroom, and he did everything. He took care of all the kids. He would put his mask on and make me food, and anything I needed. He took care of everything. So he's really like grown a lot from this curriculum and learning about service. You don't even know really what to do when you hear it until you see it done, or you hear examples. And Mr. Pooley is just a great example of that. And
and a lot of people would think service is a weakness, and it isn't. It's actually my way of giving back. I really, really, really think it's a road to happiness.
It starts in your heart with gratitude and appreciation, love, kindness, and self-discipline. Wisdom is how one manages the affairs of his life. Wisdom is conforming to just and correct principles, the ability to understand wise and foolish choices, found in people who have strength of character and integrity. So a person with wisdom has a purpose and direction in their life. They demonstrate self-control and self-discipline, use their time, talents, and resources wisely, recognizes the goodness and inner qualities of a person, has the courage to forgive self and others and move forward.
Our ancestors were not easily fooled. They could quickly see the difference between the person and having knowledge or wisdom, understanding.
Wisdom is understanding.
Even a young child could have more wisdom than an elderly person.
So a child grows up and the mother drinks and parties, and the child says, I'm not going to drink and party when I get older. And then the child grows up and drinks and gets the child taken away. So the child actually had more wisdom when they were younger than they do when they're older. Like, we know it's wrong, but we do it. Wisdom is doing it. It takes courage. It said wisdom takes courage.
It's also known as the power of understanding.
We have to be understanding. We're more understanding of our own selves and our own situations than we are of other people. We tend to be, we give ourselves more excuses than we do other people, and be more understanding. Or you're not understanding, and then it happens to you, and then you're forced to understand. So I would rather be understanding and not have to go through certain experiences in order to be understanding.
Education is a sacred responsibility of parents. A person can lose wisdom and knowledge. Unfortunately, it happens sometimes when a child obtains education that they think is greater knowledge and understanding than the common person. When gaining knowledge is our only material to obtain wisdom and understanding.
Understanding and serving people often take more effort than managing programs. When people believe that the program is more important than the people it is designed to serve, they complement their work by adding tasks and waste both time and money. Program outcomes are not achieved, and blamed for such failures is often placed on the people. This can result in much misery and pain.
We need to make every effort in really understanding the people we serve. Our goal should always be to uplift, encourage, assist, and teach. A truly successful program does not complicate, but simplifies and solves problems.
And that's what we feel like this program is very easy. It's basic. Mr. Pooley called it Native 101. Just bringing back an old message that our ancestors knew and just bringing it back to the people.
And the focus on the simple way of how we can serve others.
It says that fools hate wisdom.
Fools hate wisdom.
Wisdom can be lost. Wisdom is much greater than knowledge. We learn through experiences, and it conveys what we know and what we believe and who we are.
Says we need to learn wisdom from experience. Our experience should not be wasted regardless of our mistakes. The pain, suffering, sorrow, and trials we have encountered or have caused others. If correctly used, our personal experience must go towards our personal education, personal growth and development, and personal progress. And I guess in breaking the wisdom down, part of it is, say a child sees his parent drinking and the child says, well, I'm never going to do that. Losing that wisdom is also going up through the age of that and knowing the consequences of that, and losing the wisdom and doing it and facing the consequences of knowing you had the wisdom, and when you lost it is when you did it and knew the consequences of doing it. These are everyday life things that we deal with and people in our community. So it is very good. You can lose wisdom at any age.
And it goes to show also too, is like we said before, is that the children are watching you and they're learning from you, and they're gonna follow in your footsteps. So what we're trying to do is just send a message of, once you realize how sacred you are, you take care of yourself, your children see this, and then you become a healthier adult, a healthier way of handling situations. Being Native Americans, we know what sacredness is, remember? So we are more sacred than any possible thing out here. So we have to take even more care of ourselves, because that's the influence and helping our people, helping your family, helping your community.
I guess a good example too is of wisdom is through experiences. A person has been married 3 times, divorced 3 times or 4 times. Obviously the wisdom is to find somebody that is, interacted with you through these relationships. Obviously 3 times are charmed, but this person can, actually, where are they looking for, like I said, bars, social media places. This is the lack of wisdom, what you find, and you keep, say if you've been with somebody divorced 3 times, you're looking in the wrong places. You're finding people that had no knowledge on relationships, I guess. But that's why examples of these, how you can lose example through even relationships. You can use, or you can lose wisdom through that.
Yeah, so say like you're in a car, right? Do you know how to drive?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have a driver's license?
Of course.
Okay. What's your dream car?
69 Chevelle.
What color would it be?
Black.
Oh, so you've thought about this, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I want you to envision yourself in this car, all right? And then it's outside, you got a full tank of gas. I'm gonna give you $1,000, all right? It's waiting for you, it's all out there, okay?
All right.
All right, are you excited?
Yes.
Heck yeah. Okay, so now you're in your dream car, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna stick this mirror in front of you, right?
Yeah.
And you got this mirror in front of you. Now I want you to leave and go do what you wanted to do.
I can't.
Well, I gave you everything you needed.
Right, but the mirror's in my face. I'm looking at everything that's behind me.
Yes, your past.
Yes.
It's stopping you from going forward.
So when we put things in front of us that keep reminding us of what's behind us, we keep living that. So I can't go forward in the car or move and go drive around because the mirror's in front of me. That's just an example of how we can't move forward in the things we want because we place things in front of us that keep reminding us what was behind us or what we went through.
Yeah.
That's a good example of that. And that little...
you can't even leave the parking lot.
Right.
You can't even go anywhere because to go forward is to move the past. You have to get over it. You have to forgive. You have to move on. You have to decide. It's never too late to stop living in the past.
And when we do this demonstration with our clients, they really feel it and they understand what we're talking about. It's great ways of interaction of how the class, when we had them sitting in their chair and they were all into it with their car, and then when you put that mirror in front of them, then they realize, you're right, I can't move forward because I have this mirror in front of me. I keep looking back.
The very act of just dwelling on our past pains and hurts and mistakes and regrets is just stopping us. There's ways to look at it too, like if you're climbing a mountain and you keep looking behind you, you can say, oh, I have so far to go. Like, this is like so much work, it's too hard. Or you can look and say, look how far I've gone. Look how far I've gone, and just keep going. And then you look and you just like, yeah, I'm making it. It doesn't matter how fast you get there, but you're still going forward. It's how you perceive it that is, it's too far, too much, it's too much work.
We cannot change people. nobody can change anybody but them. We are in, even though we are in a changing people business, like she said, they could be, most of our people have been misled, and misguided. And what this curriculum does is it turns that around and it points them in the right direction. Like they could say, I'm heading to Escanaba, and Escanaba is that way. They say, I'm heading to Escanaba, but they're facing that way. And by all means, somebody misled them. What the curriculum does is it turns them. And we don't make them go, we show them, point them in the right direction. They can crawl there, they can drive there, they can run there, they can skip there. The basic thing is they're heading in the right direction. It's up to them to get there. That's the example of this curriculum.
Yeah. So teachable, one of the core concepts, committed and devoted to truth. You need to know the truth and you need to learn to love the truth, which nowadays is kind of like the opposite of what's going on in the world.
It's the most ingredient.
It is a missing ingredient to a very important lesson.
It's like making chili. You got your beans, you got your meat, you got your sauce. What's the main ingredient? What do you need to make chili? You need a chili mix. That's learning the truth. It ain't chili unless you have chili mix. That's just an example.
You need to love truth. And often communities that aren't functioning in truth are filled with gossip, rumors, and lies. It has destroyed good friendships, good marriages, good families. If we're not careful, gossip, rumors, and lies will destroy our great native nation. I'm sure you can already think of areas in your own community where these run rampant. Rumors, lies, gossip. So fathers need to lead the families in partnership with the mothers, and they need to teach truth to the children.
Truth is the beginning of happiness in our lives. The truth is
the truth regardless
of its source. It's the truth is never the problem. The people are, ever. And the truth is tough. It will never break, spoil, or go old. The truth is never afraid of us. We are always afraid of it. However, the truth can be very best friend to us.
We must know the truth to love the truth. And when we're teachable, we're preparing ourselves for change. There is power in being teachable. Like some people may look at it as a weakness again, like, oh, what are they going to teach me? I know everything. But actually it brings power. Being teachable is a powerful thing. You need to have like an open mind and an open heart to it.
Well, like if you're teachable, you're preparing yourself for change. For instance, I could give you a brand new car, but I can't give you a car. Why? Because I don't have it. So that's accepting the truth of that I cannot give you the truth, which is not giving you the car. You have to learn the truth. It has to be grounded in truth.
You have to also know, learning about yourself. You have to be honest with yourself. You have to have open and accepting mind to accept truth. Able to listen. You need to be more understanding of other point of views. There's a lot of point of views. Just because we don't all follow the same or believe in the same point of views, we still need to be understanding. And part of that is growing, and part of that is being teachable. We need to listen with our ears and our heart. So to know the truth is also to feel it in your heart. Recognizing the truth. You need to recognize the truth. Often people are not able to recognize the truth, even if it's present, even if it's presented right to them, clear and simple. Part of the truth is recognizing the truth. So here's a story. For instance, Mr. Pooley went to the airport to pick up his sister. And when he seen his sister, they hugged and they gave each other a kiss. And a lady from the res had seen him.
And never knew he had a sister.
Yeah. And so she said, I seen you with another girl at the airport. And he's like, oh, that was my sister. And she didn't believe him. But it was the truth. So if she knew Mr. Pooley and knew, she'd know that he was telling the truth. Not like some perspective to people is their truth, is how they see things. She couldn't obviously recognize the truth. Maybe she functioned in like lies and gossip, and so she couldn't even recognize the truth when it was told to her.
And when they can't see the truth, they can't hear it.
Yeah.
Parents should start by bringing truth to one another in our families. You know, so often we look at true friendship or a true love that brings them happiness or fulfillment. I work on that a lot. Sometimes truth hurts, you know, it hurts, but you know what? It's always the right decision. It is.
Even if the truth hurts, I want to be able to accept it so that I can be a better person as well. Part of knowing the truth is somebody tells you the truth, and then me being teachable is like, yes, you're right, I should change this, or I recognize this, that I do this wrong, I want to be a better parent, I'm going to try this more often. So being teachable, the benefits of it is that appreciation and gratitude, it eliminates bitterness and misunderstanding. It unites families and allows them to stand together and helps identify appropriate solutions to problems and conflict.
And often someone goes to look for happiness and truth and fulfillment or places such as parties, you know, bars, social events, when they're looking to attract people, you know. Well, they're looking for that in them areas. They're looking for physical attraction, are wealthy because they will let you know. They want to impress you with their positions, money they make, things like that, credentials and accomplishments. They don't realize or recognize the truest friends and true loves are already in their lives, and they are the children.
And do we know how children spell love? How do children spell love?
Time.
Time. That's what they want. They want your time. So part of how you spend your time, are you on your phone? Are you looking to hang out with your friends?
Well, here's an example. Our grandchild, she's 5 years old. We have other grandchildren, but this one she lives with us. We adopt her, and I didn't want my children to think that I show more attention to her than the others, but we had to earn her love, and we had to earn her time.
She put time into us, too.
Yes, she put time into us as well as we did with her, as in the others come here off and on and wonder how that we don't love one more than the other. It's just we got more time into the other, and that's what it shows. Basically, we're just, you know, it's showing the love for the child, who she is, and giving her that family atmosphere, mother and father.
By putting our time into it. Time is something like you'll never get back, too. Like if you're wasting time, it's wasted. You know, if you're going to put time into your children, they recognize that. They feel secure. They feel safe. They feel loved. So you have to put time into them as well. I know at times where it's hard because you work or you're tired, and but it's never wasted time. You know, like there was this man, and he took his son fishing, and his dad always journaled. So of course the son is journaling, and the story is that the dad wrote, went fishing today, what a waste of my day. And you looked in the son's journal and it said, went fishing with my dad today, it was the best time ever. So in his eyes, as we get older, we tend to not see things for how a child sees them. And that time was amazing to the son, you know, so sometimes we have to think like our children.
And that's where time comes in with love. How does children spell love? T-I-M-E.
Choice is the next one that we're going to work on. Choice is a freedom to act for yourself. Next to life, the right to choose is our greatest possession. NAFA's definition of it shares this positive, and that
Choice is a freedom to act for yourself. It's one of the most precious things you could have in life, is the freedom to choose. When you give that freedom up, people choose when you eat, when you go outside, when you free time, I guess. It's being incarcerated, I guess, when your choices are being taken from you. People have to understand it is very important to have that freedom to choose.
some people rather just do what they want and not realize that your choices are taken away from you.
It's also a personal choice we're choosing because it brings happiness. I had actually an event that I had to do with my wife. Actually gave me the choice. And don't get me wrong, it was a great feeling. It felt like freedom, like not freedom of her, but just freedom of what I wanted to do. Meaning that, again, we talk things over before we react on them. Another is growth and development. When you get to choose for yourself, you experience these things. Growth is important because you chose it, and now you get to grow from it. Another one is progress and self-reliance. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
It's learning who you are and what you are meant to be.
Without freedom of choice, people are like machines without responsibility or accountability to self of others. One who lacks freedom of choice is simply responding to commands and demands. Example is in jail or prison, your basic freedom of choice is taken from you. For example, you are told when to eat, what to eat, when to go to bed, where you can go, who you can talk to, and then your freedom of choice is taken away.
Other privileges is that you won't experience true happiness. Like I said, well, first of all, every day is a life of solving problems. And once you stop solving problems, guess what? You become the problem. And when that happens, then we start solving problems. And then we start looking for reasonings. What do they say? When we sit back and chill.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that around here when we sit back and chill. When you sit back and chill and you're not solving problems, you're not growing. The important thing about choice and services is that growth. Growth is key.
Yeah. And when you make wise choices, it brings happiness and it brings safety to your family. Foolish choices bring harm and unhappiness to you and your family. So the choices you make don't just affect you, they affect your whole family. A good starting point for making wise choices is understanding and obeying the rules set for ourselves. Rules aren't meant to be bad, they're meant to actually help us.
Say problem solving, knowing you got a test in school Friday. So what would you do? Well, problem solving is you study. Once you put this to work, you start to see the positive effects to it of solving problems.
You may think like you're just sitting there and you're not going anywhere and you're good where you're at, but if you're not moving forward towards the goal of having a happy and safe family, which is the NAFA goal, which is hopefully all our goals is to have a happy, safe family, we go backwards. We may think we're good and we don't need to grow, but we actually start going backwards if we're not going to grow and learn.
And another thing is how can we determine the consequences of our choices? An example, a wise choice is to bring happiness to your family. A foolish choice is to bring harm and unhappiness to your family. These are two things you need to know. These are examples. A good starting point is making wise choices, is understanding and obeying rules that we set for ourselves to keep us away from things that pull us away from, our family, things like that. Drugs, alcohol, gambling, whatever it may be, pornographic, things like that. We set rules and boundaries for that. These are wise decisions for our families and others' families that they could work on.
Don't forget, your children are gonna see what you're doing, and you're influencing them. You can tell them, don't do this, don't do drugs, but then you do drugs. Well, then, but you're not sharing, you're choosing to do.
Well, what we're doing is setting clear goals for them, which gives them a good sense of direction. Knowing where they're at and where they want to go helps us make right choices. It really does.
Well, the goal is to have a happy and safe family. So when you put this at the concept of your goal, you're aiming, you're targeting, it's easier to shoot towards it. And part of that is making wise choices, so that our choices aren't taken away from us and then people are making choices for us.
Well, we need to put the most important things first and focus on what really matters most.
And as family, what we said before is that family is the heart of the Native American culture. We have to remember that. Our ancestors fought hard for us to be here. We're of a great people, and we need to start bringing honor and goodness to our families.
Once our goals are happy and set, the family is established, it is easier and wise to make choices to reach their goals.
So the power of choice.
Yep.
Remember, so here's a story of power of choice. Mr. Pooley was on a plane, and he sat next to a gentleman, and you start talking like, oh, what do you do? Oh, I'm a counselor. He tells the gentleman next to him, Mr. Pooley tells him, and they start a conversation. And so the guy knows he's a counselor. He starts telling him, he asks him a question like, why do people cheat on their spouses? So being a counselor, he starts giving this answer, and there's probably many different reasons why, blah, blah, blah. And the man holds up his hand, and Mr. Pooley thought, oh, he wants to say something. And so he stops talking, and he says, 5 times. 5 times I've cheated on my wives, right?
Yep.
And he said, I've been married 5 times, I cheated 5 times. And the whole reason of it is because I chose to. That is the bottom line.
So why do men or others cheat on their spouse?
Because they choose to. It's a choice. It's a choice you make. So this is part of the making wise choices affects so much your children, your family. So
They may use many excuses, but the real reason is because they wanted to. Although it's simple, the man spoke basic truth.
yeah.
That's what it comes down to. There's nothing that we don't know, it's just something in us. Again, it's Native American 101.
Yeah.
When you've given up the power to choose, often we give up away choice in the great possession that we have next to life itself and the right to choose. You know, I have a son that's in prison. He's experiencing that. They tell him when he eats, when he sleeps, when he gets up, when he goes outside. He said, you know, and that's a common way of giving your choices up. So that's why it's very important to know that choice is essential.
It's very powerful. We don't realize how powerful it is until we lose it. Often when we give up our right to choose, like the alcohol will tell us what to do, the drugs will tell us what to do. You know, we gave up that choice, and now this vice is telling us what to do. So the last of the 5 core concepts is creator. Mr. Pooley said he's been to over 300 native tribes, and they all have a common belief. Our ancestors did as well, he said. So given our history and adversities that we have all gone through, the hardship the Native Americans have gone through, the experiences, they were a praying people. And it helped them get through adversities. We're still here today doing this. But it is the parents' job to lead their family into the spirituality. We're not going to say you have to follow this way or you have to follow that way. You decide what is right for your family and you lead them in that spiritual, the way that you want to take them. So with that, creator is the foundation of our lives. We're a spiritual people. By nature, just Native Americans are spiritual.
And how do you invite him in your life?
Through prayer.
Very good.
Talking to him.
He's everybody wants to be welcome in their home. Everybody wants to be welcome into people's lives. So all you have to do is just ask him and welcome into your life, and he is more than willing to be in your life.
Yeah.
That is our creator.
So one time Mr. Pooley went and did this conference, and they paid him $6,000 for one conference. And so he was like the guest speaker. And then, so the conference is over and he's looking for, he had to ask a question. He goes into this room and they're having this big luncheon. And he's like, oh, I needed to talk to so-and-so. So he talks to him and they're like, thank you, you did great. And then he left. And he was wondering, like, how come he wasn't invited to the special luncheon that he was the guest speaker at? And it kind of like hurt his feelings almost, but he wasn't going to stay. He wanted to be invited. And that's the point, is like you want to invite the creator into your home, into your family. He's not going to just force himself on you.
That's your basic invitation for him to be in your life, is to ask him to join.
And pray.
And pray.
Yeah. Like the more time you spend with somebody, the more you get to know them. Well, you need to spend time with the creator in order to get to know him. And how you do that, like when we first got together, it wasn't like we just didn't talk to each other and we just got together. You talk to one another, you get to know them, you listen to them. So that's part of building a relationship. How you would build any relationship is how you would start a relationship with the creator as well. I don't just talk to my husband when I need something. Well, that's not very loving of me. Wouldn't be a very fair relationship. Oh, I only came to you when I need something. Come to you with everything. Talk, guide, listen, hear, obey.
Listen to him. He'll give you little things that you need to know, things you need to hear. Feel it in your heart and through your ears. Just recognize it, I guess.
You can even observe it too.
Observe him.
Like in creation, like Like he takes pictures, so I see it a lot in his pictures, like sunsets and sunrises and the lake.
I'm grateful of the signs he gives me, the creator, the smell of rain when it falls, like you said, the paintings he gives me every morning. I wake up and I look at the sunrise, There's that special moment in that one time. You only have so much time to capture that. And that's what I tell my wife, is that the creator gives us these pictures to capture these moments that you can remember he thought of me at this moment.
We are a spiritual people. Like we said before, we will pass on, our spirit will live forever, our bodies will not. We also have to feed our spirit. There's that story of...
Well, first, everybody has a good and a bad spirit, and, everybody does. And whatever more comes, I guess, more alive is the more one you feed, if it's the good one or if it's the bad one. The more you feed the good one, what happens is that the goodness of what good things happen. You feed the bad one, well, guess what? Bad things happen. Pretty simple, basic.
So, like, you feed the good one, you're going to be filled with more joy, more peace, kindness, service, make good choices, and if you're feeding the bad one, you're going to be gossiping, lying, cheating, angry, unforgiving. So we also need to feed our spirits as well.
Everybody goes through something different, even that we don't we don't truly understand, but being understanding opens that, I guess, inviting the creator in our lives and, how it works. I like being the example out here in my community of how the creator has worked in my life as what I've been through. I love being that example because I've been through some of these problems these people have been through. I've been next to them in their struggle, and then when they see me and the creator in my life flowing through me, because it does, that's how he comes through us, he flows through us, and that's how I do my services through the communities, through him. This is his work. This is everything I owe back to him to do his work.
Where there's the creator, there is also the destroyer. And how you live your life is, the destroyer side would ultimately be like causing misery in your life and confusion, and you feel alone. A lot of it is we have to invite the creator so that the destroyer doesn't come and just keep stealing from us. We all go through adversities, and how we handle it is through understanding, but also relying on the creator to help us get through prayer and through...
Well, that's when you choose to walk the creator's path. You may feel like you walk alone. We all do. I feel like that. My wife, we've talked about that. Or get discouraged at times, about things. However, you will also experience the understanding of peace and truth and ultimately happiness. And that is the key. And before that change can occur, you must recognize which path you are on and where you are heading. If you're heading in the wrong direction, you got to change path. It takes courage to make that change. That's a big thing, is to make that change.
It does take courage, because ultimately you're probably following a lot of other people that are going down that. So to finally turn around takes courage to say, no, I don't want to live like that anymore. And then you might get, like even your own family members would get critical and hear the old saying of, oh, you think you're better than us. When really all it is that you just want to be happy again. And the goal of the fatherhood is to have a happy and safe family.
And these are the questions you could ask yourself. Are you worth it? Obviously you are. Is your family worth it? Very, very. And can you change? These are things that you realize when you make these changes. answer and ask yourself these questions.
So the Creator's path would be like truth and happiness, peace, understanding, forgiveness, freedom of choice.
And the Destroyer's path is lies, misery, conflict, confusion, bitterness, and loss of choice. Another way is,
Go ahead.
is prayer. Tell
All
them
it
about
is,
prayer.
all it is a heartfelt talk to the Creator. That's all it is. That you don't have to recite it like this. You don't have to repeat it. It doesn't have to be long. It just has to be sincere.
It's a personal invitation of the Lord invite in your home, your life.
So just as like we've been calling the Creator, there's other names for him as well. God, the Maker. So just like that, like what are some of your different titles?
So well, here's the thing, in everybody's eyes, we all have titles and talents and things we like to be known for. Like mine is a CHW, that's a community outreach worker. I'm a boxing coach. These are all things that I am.
Father.
I'm a father. I'm a worker.
A grandpa.
I'm a brother. I'm a grandparent. I'm a brother to my bros. I'm a bass player. Out of all these things, people can be things like my wife. She'll tell you what she is too. Is she's an accountant or accountant.
I'm an auditor.
Auditor. That's it.
And then and I'm a mother, and I'm a wife, and an aunt, and I'm all these things. I'm a cousin. I'm a friend. So we fill up this whole page of all these things that we are. There's a lot of titles we carry.
A lot
of names for just who we are. And that is exactly what God is. He has many names, but he's one. He's the Creator. There's the one person.
Right.
And then the one thing that Mr. Pooley noticed that nobody ever said.
And that it probably grasped the whole thing was.
Yeah, one person, he said out of all his trainings, all his classes, is that we are a child of God. And what that does is all this list, it takes that child of God and puts you right at the top of this list of everything you are. This is what we are. We are his creation. He loves us. He wants this relationship with us. So no matter what you call him, he's still God.
Well, the Creator understands and sees much more than we could ever imagine. Much like our children, when they see less than we or parents in understanding and seeing,
So God will answer us in like 3 ways when we come to him. He'll either say yes, no, or wait.
Yeah.
A lot of times we like to just do it on our own, but there is a plan. He sends people into our lives to inspire us. We inspire other people.
Here's an example. Again, I told you I was into working out and cardio. I hate it. And I don't need it. I just feel that way. But then there's days I go in and then I go in the gym and I know a few people, and there's this elderly lady that I know. Her name is Joan, and I use her for an example of me to get me to do it. Is that this lady is 89 years old and she's running 5Ks, and she's telling me, "You can do it, son. You can do it." That inspired me, to do it. That was a good example of it. If she can do it, I can do it. We gotta have these in our lives, I guess. That was one of mine that kept me in track on that, because if I was like, I don't want to do it, I can't do it, but then I seen her and it's like, I have to do it now.
Like, he put people in your life.
Yes.
To show you that it can be done. Like if this lady who's 80 can run and jog, then you can do it as well.
Even as Mr. Pooley, the Lord puts people in our lives because we don't see the bigger picture. Once we choose the path to walk his path, he sets it for us. We have been truly blessed with this man to teach this curriculum to us, and so we can share it among our community.
And we may be also answers to prayer for other people. Remember that story about this lady who crashed her car, but it was in a back road, and she was there for like 3 days. And this man had to go to the bathroom, and he finally pulled off, and then he seen this lady. And
well, he's seen the car down in the valley.
Yeah.
And it's been there for a day and a half. So he's using the bathroom, and he heard this
help me
lady weeping. And
yeah.
see, even though we don't know strangers that are being put in our lives, what are the odds of that man stopping right there?
Like, he was an answer. She was in that car praying, like, please God help me, and he used this gentleman to help her, which we could be there to help other people as well.
With strangers, the Lord works in mysterious ways.
Yeah.
Today's prayer circles are very common in many Native programs. However, the most sacred prayer circle is a father and mother with their children praying together as a family.
And we did that when we came home. We started praying with our children. Children want to feel wanted. So when you're praying, don't forget to pray for them, like thanking the Creator to have them in their lives, because they want to feel needed. They want to be wanted, loved, and special. So when you're thanking the Creator for your children, they hear that, and it makes them feel all those things. And then they feel like they belong, and they feel secure, and they ultimately it builds faith too. And
they feel needed, wanted, loved, and special.
Yeah.
It gives them a deep feeling of belonging, and the bond this develop is stronger than a trip to Disneyland or any vacation.
I think what we would want the most is for the people to realize that you are sacred, that in your child's eyes you will always be chosen over anything else, and that if you are sacred, then comes sacrifice, and you're worth the sacrifice of being healthy. You want to be a blessing to your family, not a burden. So you have to take care of yourself spiritually, growing, being teachable, making the right choices, loving the truth, being the best version of yourself, because your children are watching you, and they're ultimately going to follow in your footsteps. As the Native American culture is, families came first, and that should be our number one goal, is families first, to have a happy and safe family.
I guess what I get out of it is the approach of being a father, what it means to be a father in Native American country. I did not realize I was the untapped resource. Usually I've always wanted to be a part of the family, games and events. I guess what most people out here don't realize is that we are very sacred to our children, other than regalias and bustles and all them. We are the sacred to our family. We are the foundation of the family. Everybody in the family plays a part, brother, sister, grandma, grandpa. This is getting back to old Native American way. What I got out of it is it changed my whole way of looking of being a father. It gave me the respect of a man, a warrior. I don't want to look at myself as a person from a reservation here. This book has made me look as what the world sees me as, and that's a Native American father that cares about his family, that his family is priority number one. I come from the rough reservation. I've seen it all. I've been in, the drinking and the drugs, and if any parent wants to, I guess, engage their tools of parenting and knowledge of sacredness, this book is for you. I encourage you all to take this class to help grow your family and be strong in this community and this world we live in today. It actually sharpens the tools you have in you already.